So here we are in the gallery of Salt Spring Gallery of Fine Art. Sheila Hoen is not only shows her work here in this gallery, but I have a feeling was the central person to create this amazing gallery here, one of the newest galleries in Ganges.
Well, I did dream of it,
yeah,
you know, for several years, and then last year was the time, and a friend, Di Roberts actually, knew that it was for rent, so we inspected it and thought, no. But in the end, we did masses of work.
You had a big dream.
We had a big dream, and we drywalled, painted, you know.
It's transformed. It is. I remember this place.
Yes,
Pre this.
Yes,
yes.
Yes.
It was interesting.
So we had fun, you know, and everybody put their shoulders to the wheel. You know, the Spies, Dan and Jackie Spies, who work all day, came at night and painted the ceilings. Oh. So, you know, everybody did their bit.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It really was.
How many artists do you have here in the gallery?
Well, we now have 9, and we are getting more as the time goes by.
Are they pretty well all from the island here?
They are all from the island, yes. This is the requirement. Yeah. So.
And have all of them shown their work before, or some of them
Many
just
have.
emerging artists?
Yes, some are emerging artists, but most of them have shown their work before somewhere, you know, whether it was in Edmonton or Calgary or Victoria or whatever.
And I see you have a mixed kind of work. I saw some interesting work on metal. Painting on metal,
yes,
which was really, I mean, what an amazing surface to paint on.
It's fun. That's Carol James.
Yes,
yes,
and some great sculptures over here.
Yes, well, Kathleen, you know, she's really very, very wonderful, and we're thrilled to have her.
Yeah, and you've got jewelry and clay, and then you have the flat art, the wonderful oils and acrylics and watercolor. Some of your work is right behind us here.
Yes, well, this is, I work in acrylics.
Yes.
So, and I love painting figures. It's really fun. And I really intend to improve, of course, I'm sure we all do, but I really intend to keep working, and I'm finding different techniques and things to just have fun with and
what are your inspirations for your figurative work?
Well, people. You know, I really like people, and I painted a lot of landscapes in France and here on Salt Spring and in Florida too. And that was great, but then something just happened and I thought, I really want to paint people. So, and I've become much more, well, expressionist than I was at the beginning. But
when did you start painting?
10 years ago.
And are you a schooled artist?
No, well, I've had a lot of workshops. Went to Florida Gulf Coast University for a couple of semesters, but then realized I was learning more at the workshops. Gail Bennett, he was my guru, you might say, and ran art study Giverny in Normandy.
Yes.
And I went there every year for about 5 years.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Stuart and I have spent several wonderful extended stays in Giverny, but not as long as you.
Well, it was only 10 days at a time, but he also then came to Florida in the winter, so that marvelous teacher.
Yes,
really.
Yeah, such an inspiration in that whole area.
Yes, yes.
Just arises.
Really.
Yeah, yeah. When I look at your work, it feels very oriental. Do you have? Yes, it does.
Well, I really am inspired, and that's partly Monet, because going into his house, you realize that he loved Japanese painting. And there are a number of paintings in his house that people tour now that are very much the Japanese.
It did. It arose for the Impressionists, didn't it?
Yes.
The Japanese art.
Yes.
And he really embraced it.
He loved it. And so I've looked at little tiny drawings and sometimes worked on doing some Japanese type figures too. But no, it's great fun.
Yeah. So what size? These are quite a lovely size. Do you work larger than this and smaller than this as well?
I don't work much smaller than the small one, but I normally like to paint from live people. I don't use photographs because that makes me feel tight, you know. And I like the liveness of having someone there. And it's really marvelous fun. And then I go home, you know, and make a composition out of it, but I just love to.
So that first contour kind of painting?
I draw with paint, really,
okay,
with the tube acrylics. And then I more lately have moved into liquid acrylics and doing overlaying washes and that type of thing. And then some of the tube acrylics sort of to define something. And also texturing. You know, I love to use different texturing devices. And
I noticed these are on canvas, but I think there was a painting in the other room on paper.
Yes, yes.
So you're using acrylic on paper?
I have used paper and board, you know. But yes, I'll use anything that's around, basically. No, it's you know, it's sort of a question of if you feel like doing a large one, you just grab a large piece of something and go after it.
When you're working into your texturing, is that something you're using your hands at that point, or are you
I have,
using
yes.
tools?
I've drawn in texture, and I've used, you know, wax resist and all sorts of things. But what I enjoyed a lot was using rubber pads and carving my own designs on it, and then painting on those and applying the texture.
Oh, fantastic.
It was fun.
Very,
it was
very
fun.
fun.
And it makes some interesting effects.
So you talk about Florida. Are you from Florida?
No, I'm from Victoria.
I love that. So where is Victoria? Where is Florida in your life?
Well, it's the last stop before. No, we've always come to Salt Spring, but the last 5 years we've been here much, much more than anywhere else. And now we're here vast amount of the year. So no, it's lovely to go back there and see friends. And there's quite an art community there, and I am in another gallery there. So I don't want to not be there. So I have to run back and forth occasionally.
Does it influence your art here?
I think so, because I think I wouldn't paint as colorfully, at least initially, if I'd not lived there. It seems as if color is something that people wear color, and they, you know, it's here people are more subdued and in their color wearing anyway. So yeah.
So that influence is really there. And then Gervais, you talk about the Oriental influence. Is there any other influence in France that you feel comes into your art?
You know, I did not start, well, except for one painting, as a realist, you know, because I think often one starts that way. But I went into Impressionism, you know, with Gail Bennett, because that was the way he initiated people into painting, and I was a beginner. But just learning all this, you know, the sophisticated parts of color mixing and tertiaries and all this sort of thing was invaluable. And looking at the Impressionists in Paris or in Giverny and seeing just how they used color all mixed together, and strange colors for shadows and fun things like that, you realize I can do anything with color if I really want to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done that
I
too.
love color, that's for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
You do.
What else influences your art in your life? Are you a gardener?
I am, yes. I'm a gardener, certainly. I love flowers, and I don't paint flowers very much, but I love the color, you know, the banks of color. But I love exercise, and so, you know, it's fun to paint people in you know, moving and doing interesting things, not just, I don't do portraits very much, so I like to see interesting shapes.
So it's really about the shapes, it's not about the individual.
Well, it is about the individual too. It's to capture that person without, you know, without making it a detailed thing. But I found it's harder to get the real personality without making much more realistic pictures or paintings, which I have done. But
well, I find your compositions absolutely beautiful, and the colors, there's such a vibrancy.
thank you very
Really
much.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for sharing your time
You're
here.
most welcome. Glad you came over to the gallery.
Thank you.